No. I mean, I don't know. You have changed. Not even 2 years. I haven't seen anything in the back. Oh, there it is. Okay. So like after that, all right. Welcome to another episode of Bitches Love Sports. I'm Bitch 2.
I'm Bitch 1.
I don't actually need to think about that. We got a lot going on in terms of mics and cameras, and I'm like looking at things happening. We're still trying to figure this shit out, y'all. I'm sorry. But yes, I am with certainty Bitch 2.
I am also with certainty Bitch 1. Forever will.
and judging from Martin's laughter in the chat, y'all can hear
Y'all
us.
can hear us. Nice. Yes. Thanks, Martin.
We know the drill. Come in, watch the intro. Let us know if you can hear us. This is so bad.
Simple as that.
All right. I almost want to bring this camera closer because we're getting way more in the background.
I mean, hey, welcome to my home.
Hold on. We're gonna be right back. Wait, it's crooked.
Hey, y'all want to subscribe? For,
Wait, now there's like a shadow on my face. Keep talking. Tell them to subscribe.
The lights are a little far. But hey, if y'all want to make a donation or subscribe would be great. But if y'all want to make a donation, we can make this better without interruptions like this one that just happened.
There's a learning curve for this shit.
We're trying. We're doing great.
We are doing great.
We're doing great.
Earlier today, I was like literally thinking about the fact that I'm just like, man, like just some days I'm working on this shit and I'm just like, I wish I had like a team or some sort of like, well, I can't really say I don't have a team, but like a bigger team, people who are good at things like this, or some sort of like financial support and shit like that. Anyway, Sports Junkie, shout out to you. Yes, the learning process, it's almost like it never ends. Not unless you like just get like an influx of cash that you can just like throw into shit and just get everything set up perfectly. But like in the process of figuring it out, in the process of getting all that stuff, like yeah, it's a process.
We're all learning.
Sports Junkie said, "Move the camera." Is it okay now, Sports Junkie? Like, did I move it to a good spot? Are we good?
I think. Listen.
We've definitely done worse. We've done full ass shows with words.
You just gotta listen to my
Whatever.
dumb comments and laugh about it, and we'll
Right.
have a good time.
Right.
Okay.
For most of this, you don't even have to be looking at the screen.
Correct.
Shout out to you, Eddie. How about them Cowboys? Which we are going to talk about today. What up, Swain? Good to see you. We're definitely going to talk about the Cowboys. We've got a lot to say about the Cowboys, so we are going to try to run through the shout outs and call outs, which will probably happen because we don't have notes on half of them.
Yep.
If you like, I will say this every time. If you know any content creators who have like a well-produced show and they have all their points laid out, like they're putting a lot of time into their shit. Just know that. So there are things that I want to talk about, and some of it I've got notes written down. Some of it I'm just coming straight off the top of my head, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell the difference. So welcome everyone who's watching today. We're gonna hop right into it.
Yeah. The freestyle, that's right, Martin. You know how to roll, dog.
Anybody who's been around for a while, y'all have heard us freestyle. Y'all know all about how ADHD hits us. So if you're new,
it's actually the definition of ADHD is freestyle.
If you're new and you did not know, we both have ADHD. So if we get off topic, just hold on a second. We'll be back. We'll be back.
We're gonna circle back, honey.
Yes.
We're gonna circle back.
Promise.
Oh, yes.
So we're gonna start off talking about the first thing actually is a call out, which I almost feel weird about calling it a call out, and you'll see why. But it's calling out the USA men's basketball team who did not get a medal in the FIBA World Cup, unfortunately. I feel like I had some video on them or something to pull up to make this fun. It's somewhere. But yeah, so men's basketball team, basically, when the bracket was first set, the USA faced Italy first. They made easy work of that, won 100-63. Then they went on to face Germany in the semifinals. And they were defeated by the Germans, 113-111. Now, this was a team that a lot of people thought, oh, this is going to be the year that the Americans finally medal again because we haven't been doing that great in the World Cup. But it didn't happen. If it's any consolation for anyone who actually cares, though, the Germans did go on to win gold. So we were defeated by the eventual champions. Hearing that the Germans fucking won the world championship for basketball is just weird. Am I the only person who thinks that's weird?
I think it's
weird. The FIBA World Cup for basketball and the Germans won. Like, just think about that for a second. Anyway, so we were defeated by Germany, 113-111. They went on to win first place. They defeated Serbia 83-77 in the championship game. And the U.S. ended up competing against Canada for third place and lost 127-118. So
hey, Spain was ranked #1 and still didn't make the semifinals. So
yeah, I guess you never know. But like, yeah, that's just so weird. So Germany, they're the kings of basketball right now, apparently. But yeah, so that led to some interesting headlines like USA basketball results.
Junkies said they don't send their best players anymore. That's true. I've been wondering why.
And that was the thing that I was gonna make a call out about this. I don't feel right calling out the team, right? Because I feel weird calling out a team for I didn't really watch the game, so I don't know if they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But I do know that there are notable players who, for example, go to the Olympics but did not go to the World Cup. So I don't know what it is about the situation. I don't know if they are not investing enough money or if the conditions aren't as good or what's happening. That's one of the things that I wanted to investigate. And if I find out, y'all will be the first to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so calling out whatever is happening with USA men's basketball to where we aren't sending our best to things like the World Cup. Because that there actually are people who play in the NBA who are playing on some of these other teams. Like on Canada, it was was his name? Was it Desmond Bain? Was he the one on the Canadian team?
No.
Somebody was. Anyway, there's a lot of NBA players. There's a lot of NBA players who play for other countries.
Luka played.
Yeah, but not for the US. So
I mean, they play for other countries.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, it's like, so
US
not only
players,
not only do we have NBA players who are not competing for the US when it comes to these worldwide championship tournaments.
Trae Young said they won't let some players go. I guess their teams here, the NBA teams, won't let them go. That's wild.
I could see that from a rest standpoint, maybe.
Bro, it's your country. The fuck?
That doesn't mean what you would like it to mean, I think.
Listen, it's just weird to me because this country is so patriotic and so like, oh, America, blah. And Spain is not like that at all, right? So the only time that the Spaniards get together is for sports event, or let me rephrase, for soccer events. And so for like, obviously you're gonna send the absolute best of the best. So for the US having the actually best of the best, quite literally, and not sending them is kind of weird.
Fun fact. This country promotes patriotism, but it actually runs on capitalism.
Oh, I mean, capitalism runs the world, baby.
So at the end of the day,
yeah, but yeah,
at the end of the day, you gotta,
I guess maybe they don't make enough.
you gotta
money for
make it
them to
make
go.
sense, as in dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
So if a team feels
The
like
dollars and cents that we don't have, subscribe.
So if a team feels like something could jeopardize the status of one of their star players, I could see them placing stipulations on that situation. So,
Oh, thank you, brother L. That would be cool. He's
What if Brother
saying,
L's doing?
I'll send you a link that explains why we send the lineup and the politics included. That would be cool. Yeah, I would like to read that.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. So next shout out, a really quick shout out is going to Naomi Osaka. She announced her return to tennis. She got a little bit of flack during the US Open. What I need y'all to understand is Naomi Osaka has the worst resting bitch face ever. She was not upset that she wasn't playing or that Coco Gauff won. That's literally just her face, y'all.
That lets us know that you have not seen her before, because that's how she looks all
That's
the
just
time.
how she be looking. But yeah, so she announced that she's going to be back in 2024. She had her daughter in over the summer, and she's ready to come back. Apparently, she's adjusted her perspective on life and sports and taken time to figure out how to come back in a way that will not jeopardize her mental health, that she can do it in a healthy way. She said it's going to be a lot of tournaments. It's going to be a different level of tournament than what she was competing in before she kind of stepped away, which makes sense. She went through a phase where she was struggling a little bit and then took time off to have a kid. So obviously she needs to get back in the groove and everything, but she's coming back. And I'm happy for her. And it sounds like she needs it. She was talking about how just, her identity kind of changed leaving the sports, which happens for a lot of athletes,
Yeah.
So yeah, she's coming back, and that's awesome. And the third segment of our shout outs and call outs is another shout out, and it goes to Chef Hoppie, who we've shouted out a bunch of times on this show. So Chef Hoppie is starting a business with Dak Prescott. And so if you watched my interview with him, you might have seen what I'm about to show you. But just in case you didn't, I'm going to play this real quick. Give me a second. Wait, I did upload it, didn't I? Or did I not? Say something.
Well, she puts me on the spot like this, and the only time, ADHD is weird. The only time that my brain goes blank is when I'm like saying something. Is when like people put me on the spot. Like today at work, we did like a lunch or whatever for birthdays and shit. Which my birthday is in a couple of weeks, y'all. I need a New Jersey. Just saying, because mine is.
How about we do
outdated.
this? While this is uploading, talk about your World Cup thing.
Perfect. Please hold.
All right, so we have some news on the Women's World Cup. If you were paying attention, there was like this whole situation where
so Spain won! Yay!
Spain won.
Congrats!
And
then during the celebration, the president of the federation just fucked up to a level that I didn't even know was doable, like, to be honest. Honestly, like, we were watching the game, and the game was at 5 a.m. We were watching the game in bed, and like the sun was not like super high or whatever, and it was in English, but whatever. It was weird, and like he was too friendly. Let's keep it PG-13. He was too friendly.
He kissed her, right?
Yeah, well, but like with everybody, he was too friendly, too touchy, like hand like right above the ass. Too like hugs too tight. It was weird. Kisses like I was weird. And then one of the player that missed the penalty kick, he kissed her in the mouth in fucking live television during the fucking like celebration and ceremony of Spain winning the World Cup for the first time ever with the women's. So that I felt weird seeing him like that, to the point that I was telling Flynn, I'm like, have I been here that long that now that makes me uncomfortable? Or is it? And then I started seeing tweets and posts, and I'm like, okay, so it's not just
people
me.
saying
He done
like, yeah,
fucked
it's
up.
weird.
He done fucked up. I missed the kids though when it happened. I missed it, and then like it just blew up. It was insane. So this dude, anyway, Spain, like the people took the streets and started protesting because that is, it wasn't consensual on her part.
So there was a whole protest over this.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even know about that.
Oh
part.
yeah. Oh yeah, no. This shit has it's been insane. People took the streets like this is, but the thing is, like, the player wasn't saying anything. She didn't make any press conferences, or she didn't make any statements or anything until like days later, when it was like, that's another thing too. Like, she was forced to make a statement, like, even if she didn't want to talk about it, whether she wanted or not, she was forced to make a statement. And it wasn't even her, it was her lawyer team, and the union for the federation, everything, that made the statement. And she ended up taking legal action. That was days later, because this motherfucker made a fucking video. Just can't. He made a video apologizing, quote unquote, but like, I guess I have to apologize type of apology.
I remember that.
So then he scheduled a press conference where he said he was gonna step down, and he went to the press conference and offered the head coach, which I don't know if you remember, but last year 15 players from the women's team stepped down from the team because the coach was being a little weird. So he offered the head coach $500,000 a year for the next 4 years. So he not just offered him an extension of his contract, but a raise as well. And then he proceeded to say that he's not going to fucking step down. And
I remember that.
He said that it was like when he kisses his daughters, and like it was a bunch of fucking, it was gross. It was really upsetting. And when he was like, I'm not gonna step down, and you see, like, obviously all the fucking men like, oh yeah, step down. And then you see all the women that were waiting, like the rest of us were waiting for you to say, like, I'm gone, like really fucking sad in first row, like not clapping, not applauding him or anything. Anyways, everybody caught a lot of heat for this. The head coach got fired later on, even though he made an apology for clapping and applauding the president. And then the player took legal action and said that it wasn't consensual, and like that was sexual harassment, and I was abused and all that. And now he's going to trial on September 15th because he's a motherfucker that should not be in that position. Oh, by the way, his uncle, this is wild. His uncle went on the fucking radio, and oh man, he spilled so much tea about this dude. It was unreal. Like, personal shit. He worked with him at the federation. And when the president got the position, his uncle went into the office and they were talking, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to help me to get my dad a pension from the federation, a monthly money to go into my dad. And he was like, I'm not gonna help you with this. So he kicked him out. And the dude doesn't even work for the federation anymore. Like, it was unreal, y'all. It was insane. And now a bunch of videos have come out, and a bunch of women have come out that this is not the first time that's happened. He called him his uncle said that this is him. This is how he is in real life. This is how he acts.
And how long has he been in the position?
For a while. Too long.
And he's just now getting to the point where people are calling him out.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Well, FIFA suspended him from pay, and they took his car. And then he ended up stepping down yesterday.
So are they still going to trial?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The work shit is different. Like, he's taking legal action because of the thing that he did to her.
Okay.
But the work shit, he was gonna get fired if he didn't step down. So.
Well, Thank you for that update. We'll see what happens with Spain. Hopefully, they can keep their
keep you posted
keep the
after.
team together and
Yes.
keep seeing success in the World Cup. But yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't real. It wasn't real.
All right,
Because you know, like the first time we fucking win this shit, and then you fucking taint it. Like, bro, this ain't about you. He grabbed his balls when we scored the goal as a celebration. Like, bro, like, at least be a little more respectful. You're next to the queen, by the way. I don't know if a lot of you know, but we have a royal family in Spain. The queen was there with her daughter, next to them, like, "Bleh," like.
See, what's crazy about that is like I feel like with an American audience, people are just kind of like, because like let's say for example, like Joe Biden had a daughter and they were at some event and some asshole stood next to them and like grabbed his balls, people would be like, well, he's a dick, and they would just move on. Like nobody would even nobody would even trip about it. They just be like, yep, like people are assholes, whatever. And it would probably go viral and there would be some crazy memes about it on Twitter, but like there would not be like protests about it.
Honestly, I think it would have gone that way had he not done what he did afterwards.
Okay.
I think it would have gone viral and he would have caught some heat for it, but I don't think it would have gone this far just for the celebration.
Yeah, he kind of stacked up a few cents.
But you done fucked up, Rubiales. Fuck you. Fuck you.
All right. Well, that was just enough time. Thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
For me to upload the video of Chef Hoppie that I was telling you about.
He says I'm the best storyteller, you know. Thank you. I appreciate it.
By the way, if you haven't watched an interview with Chef, I can't talk.
JV boy, I am from Spain. That's why I have an accent.
Yes. But yeah, if you haven't seen that interview, you should definitely check it out. It's a good one. Chef Hoppie drops a lot of information just about being an entrepreneur, about working with clients like the Dallas Cowboys, about some of the things that he had to overcome in his youth in order to continue to build his brand. He talked about his experience being coached by Deion Sanders. It really is a great interview. I'll probably start sharing more pieces of it just because I think it not to sound like cocky or anything, but I really think it should have higher numbers than it does. I'm like, this is a fire ass interview, like just for content alone. Like, even if you don't know who either of us are, there are some gems in that interview. So definitely check it out if you haven't. But for now, I'm going to share this quick clip, and then you'll see why we're giving Chef Hoppie a shout out, and why we should all be very excited for what's to come for him. Oh, wait, let me mute this real quick so there's no echo. That was a fucking thing. Oh, goodness. It's showing two of me again.
I haven't told many people this, but me and Dak are about to start a business together. So what I want to focus on that, or what I care about, the more followers or being well known on social media.
Hey.
You can have 250,000 followers, but you don't have a business with that.
Yes, there are a lot of people who have 250,000 followers who do not have business with Dak Prescott. Let's talk about this business though. Mm-hmm. Tell us about it if you can.
I'm not gonna say too much yet, but it's very close to being where it needs to be for us to let the public know. Dak was just presented an opportunity, and me and him have always flirted with the idea of, giving the people an opportunity to taste what's really going on and have fun about what's really going on. So you'll be able to see us at some of the home games, maybe some tailgate parties. We might be out here at the Star hosting some stuff for away games, just that's really exciting. Being able to be flexible and giving the people a taste of what we got cooking up.
I'm about to be in Frisco all the time. Oh my God. I come up here way too much.
Oh yeah.
All right.
We all need a producer.
It takes a village, y'all. So, but yeah. I hate everything. So yeah, shout out to Chef Hoppie for starting his new business with Dak Prescott. From the looks of their Instagram page, which is Hopscotts, HOPPSCOTTS on Instagram, it looks like it's going to be a food truck where you kind of have to follow in order to see the location. So this is a collaborative effort between Chef Hoppie and Dak Prescott. I don't know the full extent of the role of Dak Prescott. For example, if he'll like be there, probably not. But people ask me questions like that because like he's in the Instagram pictures and they're like, is he actually
Dad gonna be cooking?
Right? Like, why is he in the pictures in the kitchen? I don't know because like
Calling
he's
the offensive player from the fucking food truck.
right.
Yo, cool.
But yeah, so shout out to Chef Hoppie for yet another awesome endeavor. One thing that I can tell you is that when it comes to Chef Hoppie and what he does, I've never seen him do anything halfway. So when they say it's going to be a premier food truck experience, I would say expect something that you've never seen from a food truck. Expect something that you didn't even know food trucks could do. Like, because whenever he does something, he does it extremely well. He goes all the way. He takes a lot of pride in what he does. And he is like a savant when it comes to combining flavors. So if you are in the area, wherever they happen to put the truck, like it's going to be somewhere around like Arlington, Dallas, like where the games are happening. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that. And if you have an opportunity to check it out, don't miss it. Other shout outs real quick. One to the Dallas Wings for making the WNBA playoffs. They start tomorrow. I'm not going to elaborate any further than that because of time. Another one, huge shout out to Coco Gauff, who is now ranked number 3 in the world. She defeated the person who's now Arina Sabalenka, who's now number 1 in the world. She defeated her to win the U.S. Open. So shout out to her. Apparently, she's the youngest women's tennis player to win the U.S. Open since
Serena.
Was it? No, she's the first teenager since Serena, but she's the youngest since Venus.
Oh.
So yeah. Anyway, there's a lot going on in terms of like records and precedents set by Venus and Serena that now Coco Gauff is taking over, which is really interesting for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I have a lot of love for Coco Gauff, who she is as an athlete, as well as who she is as a person. I think she sets a great example for young women, especially young Black women who are growing up and trying to tackle just major goals. Yeah, and one day soon we'll talk more about that. But like I said, #time.
Did you see her in post? Had the other player when she went to the locker room, she broke the racket.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Sabalenka's comments after the match, I'm like, so first of all, Sabalenka had
"Ooh, you mad?"
Arina Sabalenka had an attitude in the third set. Like I was just like, girl, have some sportsmanship about yourself. Like, what are you doing? And then in the post-game comments, she like made this joke about firing her whole team, but like the camera panned over to them, and you could tell they were kind of awkward about it. Because like that, like the person talking to her was like, okay, you're ranked number 1 now, and you're a runner-up at the US Open. That's pretty great. Like, what do you want to say to your team? And she's like, well, you know, they're all about to be fired, so the camera, she was like, I'm just kidding. And the camera went over to them, and they're like, what the fuck? And everybody's like awkward.
People are so weird. I love it.
It was very obvious that she was having trouble in the moment processing the fact that she didn't win. You could tell that she expected to win, because I think going into that match, Coco was ranked like 10 or something, like it was somewhere between 7 and 10. I don't even remember. But she was ranked number 2 and headed to number 1. So you could just kind of tell she had this air about her where she just expected to win. And Coco was like, bitch, let me tell you what's not about to happen in New York today.
And is he winning?
Not only did Coco win, she actually kind of made it look a little easy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it is what it is. She wasn't prepared for it. She didn't handle it well emotionally. She may or may not regret the comments and how she presented herself after the match, but that's on her now. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm mad at Coco Gauff for is picking the Giants to defeat the Cowboys. Sorry, Coco. Like you were doing so well.
Up until that point when you were not doing so great.
It's like you can almost hear the narrator. It's like Coco's like, I'm gonna win the US Open. And you know, she scored points with talking about anime. She scored points with the public talking about Justin Bieber and Haley. She scored points with the public when Jimmy Butler came to watch her play. She scored points with the public when she had the picture of her with the trophy and the WWE belt.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "We love you, Coco. You're the best." And then she's like, "Oh, and tonight in New York, the Giants are gonna win." And you could almost hear the narrator like, "And this was when the magic ran out for Coco Gauff."
Thank God your season's over. Just like Aaron Rodgers.
It's like, this is the moment. Her glass slipper turned back into New Balance sneakers. It's like, nah, you done. Fates were like, we got you everything else, but this we can't help you. Yeah. Daniel Jones, you owe Coco Gauff an apology. She's like, I was rooting for you. But before we get further into that, we're gonna talk really quickly about some college football. So,
let's see if we can make that true.
If you follow me on Twitter, you know for a while I've been talking about how I wanted to see what Caleb Williams looked like this season, because last season he became like the scrambling king, and that's cool to watch, but at the same time it was like he really shouldn't have been doing all that, right? The reason why he was scrambling so much was because he was used to doing one read and then freaking out. If we're being honest, it's like one read, and if it was there, he'd throw it, and if it wasn't there, it's like, oh shit, I'm running. And he did that, led to some really impressive highlights and some amazing wins, but it also led to some wear and tear on his body that had him limping by the end of the season, which is not something that I want to see with one of my favorite quarterbacks. So I kind of wanted to see if he brought something different to the game this season. I made a comment about just like Lincoln Riley quarterbacks not really developing that well in terms of being able to read defenses and actually manage a game. And it was almost like he heard me. Like, there were times during this recent game where it looked like he was like literally trying to fight the urge to scramble. But that's kind of what I wanted to see, is like, okay, is he going to take it upon himself to develop himself as a quarterback? Because he's presented himself like the type of person to do that, to where if he sees a weakness in his game, he's going to be like, you know what, I'm going to figure out how to fix this. And while I'm excited that happened, what it led to, and I tweeted about this, what it led to was us hardly seeing him on the field, because there are tweets like this that I sent out where I said USC has had 5 scoring drives of 55 yards or more. 4 of them were completed in 8 plays or less. So basically, like all season, I've been wanting to see Caleb, and then I finally get to watch this late night game between Stanford and USC, and I still hardly get to see Caleb Williams, because he's just got, there's literally a drive, and this is another one that I posted about. I said, Caleb is like, why use 12 snaps to do what you can do in 1? We're getting quote unquote drives like this. And this was, actually, I'm gonna pull up the full thing to make sure I can read it. No, I can't. So yeah, this was at some point in the game where the USC got the ball on their own 25. There's a 6:46 in the second quarter. USC gets the ball on their own 25. Caleb comes out, completes a pass to Brendan Rice for 75 yards, touchdown, and then goes back to the sideline. And I'm like, great. So now this man is like so efficient, I can barely enjoy watching him play. So props to Caleb Williams for the wins and the great stats, and for becoming like super efficient. And hopefully, well, I won't say hopefully, but yeah, I'm gonna just enjoy the season. Congratulations on keeping it clean and staying safe and killing it. Yeah. Now, the team that they play in a couple of weeks, I think that's going to be a much more interesting game than a lot of people anticipated, because in a couple of weeks, USC is actually going to play Colorado.
Are you gonna?
Am I going to go out there?
No. Are you gonna make a prediction?
Oh no, I'm not. I am absolutely not making a prediction about that game, because when I tell you both of these teams look completely different than what they looked like last season, I can't. Like, there's no way I can make a prediction on that.
Colorado be making some moves out there, shit.
Colorado. So, all right, let's just go into Colorado. The funny thing about Colorado is I did not realize before this season how many people doubted Colorado the way they doubted them, right? But
do you think they doubted them before Coach Brown was there?
Well, before Coach Prime got there, they sucked. like,
That's why I mean,
bad enough to where I don't
mean,
normally
they
talk
had a
about teams
right to
like that.
doubt them there.
But no, after learning that Coach Prime was taking over, they didn't believe Coach Prime could do what he said he was going to do. So,
He
but let's
proved it the year before.
not to a lot of people because Jackson State is an HBCU. So there were a lot of
Oh,
people.
fuck y'all. Come
I
on.
knew you were going to say that because you be trying to pretend like America is not what it is. But there are a
It's
lot.
not pretending. It's not pretending. I just don't understand. It's not pretend.
All right. Well, let me explain. So in the world of college football, people are like HBCUs are not good. Now, a lot of that has to do with just like a lack of resources and a lack of access and just historical
Right.
shit that would take way too much time to get into. But people are used to just being like HBCUs, like they might have individual players who are good, but the schools as a whole just, can't compete, right?
Yeah.
And even Isaiah Land, I wrote an article about it. Isaiah Land when he was first signed as a UDFA to the Dallas Cowboys, where even he talked about the lack of resources, the lack of funding, and just a different level of coaching that he experienced compared to what he knew people experienced at like Power 5 schools, for example. So it's not like it's not a fact, but there are just a lot of conclusions that are drawn from that. So when Coach Prime was at Jackson State, a lot of people are like, well, he's a big name, he's a celebrity, so he attracted more talent. And that's why Jackson State was able to perform so well against other HBCUs. He won't be able to duplicate that at a bigger school with more competitive schools that he'll be going up against. That's what people were thinking. So we're going to recap this game real quick. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why people didn't believe in him and why they were wrong. So, Colorado defeated Nebraska on Saturday with a final score of 36-14. And this
with almost 0 points in the first half.
Yeah,
that game was unreal.
And that's the thing. The offense started slow and the score was tied at 0 until literally 4:20 left into the second quarter. And that's when Jace Feely scored a field goal. Oh no, I'm looking down there. I got everything here. So Jace Feely scored a field goal. The Buffaloes took the lead at that point. They went up 3-0. And they kept the lead for the entire rest of the game. And because Nebraska, they didn't score at all until 9:50 left in the third quarter. So if you look at this on paper, it sounds like a really dominant showing by the Buffaloes. And don't get me wrong, they're a good team. Super, super fun to watch. I love watching the Buffaloes play. Like, I've only seen 2 games, obviously, but I love watching them play, what I've seen so far. But you could tell it was going how they, like, it wasn't going how they wanted it to go. If you actually watch the game, it was actually Nebraska's mistakes that made the game as lopsided as it was, as opposed to Colorado just being that damn good. Now, I think they would have won either way, but I don't think it would have gone quite how it went.
The spread probably wouldn't have been that
Yeah, it would not have been. So, for example, this is how the first half went for Colorado. Each possession ended like this. It went punt, 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 field goal, touchdown, field goal, right? But for Nebraska, it went fumble, punt, punt, miss field goal, fumble, interception, punt. So that's what I mean whenever I say Nebraska, they were just like making a lot of mistakes. And that's just how each possession ended. That doesn't count for all the negative plays and missed opportunities that happened like as these drives were going on. So Nebraska, they were just out there struggling. Both teams started out struggling. Colorado got their shit together before Nebraska and they were able to hold it together. And Nebraska just never really got it together. As a matter of fact, one of the plays that they ran at the end, I even made the comment on Twitter. I was like, yo, they waited till Nebraska was tired as hell to run this play. And they really did. You could tell right before they ran it. I was like, Nebraska looks like they're slowing down. They're not finishing their hits like they were earlier. And then Colorado runs this like fancy ass trick play. And Nebraska was just like, can we just go home? I don't want to do this no more.
They fucked around and found out.
They did. Not that you have a choice when a team is on your schedule, but yeah, that's what happened. So, but yeah, so that shit like that is fun to watch. But there's actually something else that I want to talk about when it comes to the Buffaloes, and that is the culture that Coach Prime has been building despite people not believing in them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna watch a few.
Martin.
What do you say?
Nebraska TV was betting on Colorado.
But we're gonna watch a few clips on Coach Prime. Now, if you've seen any of Coach Prime's speeches, you know they're good, they're fun to watch. So like grab a drink, grab your popcorn. We're gonna watch a few clips
Got it.
because I really want to talk about this for a few minutes, and then we're gonna get into the Cowboys, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about them. Um, but the first thing that I'm gonna play for y'all is this video of some things that the announcers were saying about Colorado. And it's not the part, if you follow me on Twitter, I mentioned something about the announcer saying something about Colorado overachieving. And I said that there's a difference between exceeding expectations and overachieving. Because in the grand scheme of things, Colorado has done what you would expect from for any good team and any group of elite athletes, right? They're noticing their mistakes in real time, they're making adjustments. They're executing to the best of their ability. We're seeing complementary football. We're seeing them adjust their level of risk taking based on the situation that they're dealing with in the game. So I just feel like whenever you say overachieving, it's like, okay, so you just didn't expect them to even be like a competent team. Like you didn't even expect these coaches to just be decent at their jobs. Like when you say they're overachieving, I feel like they're doing what a good team is supposed to do. Now, exceeding expectations, like, yeah, but in my opinion, people's expectations were a little bit off. So I'm gonna play like this little clip of something else that the announcers were saying, and this clip kind of sums up why it's not even about the lack of belief. I think what I realized when I heard this clip was that some of it is a lack of belief, but a lot of it is just people hating. A lot of it is people just not liking Coach Prime. So I'm gonna pull this up, and then I'm gonna. There we go. Nope, you are gonna play for me today. We're not playing this game. My laptop, I didn't like it. I'm like, no, we're doing this. I worked too hard finding these clips.
But play it so I can hear.
Okay, I'm a.
You talked about Vegas earlier. They had their win total at 3 over under for the season.
And they've got 2 if they can hold on to win this game. 2:20 left, 36-7.
You talk about what do they say? First impressions,
Lasting ones.
they are, aren't they?
Yes.
Coach Prime in his first 2 games as the head coach of the University of Colorado went on the road, beat the defending national runner-up as a 20-point dog, and then came back home, and in his home debut, beat the hated Nebraska Cornhuskers in a rivalry game.
And you know what Coach Prime would probably say?
I expected this.
Exactly. You didn't. I did. But I did.
That's what he would say. Did you notice he looked at me when he said that yesterday?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah, there's a nice sack by Nebraska.
You know, it's so fascinating. There was a large sector of people that were offended, a lot of them other coaches around the country, with how Dion was going about putting together this roster. You know, 86 new players, really hitting it hard in the transfer portal. And my point was, what do you want them to do? They were 1-11, lost by an average of 29. They played 7 ranked opponents last year. They lost by an average of 36 in those games. Their last 4 games last year, they lost by an average of 41.5. What did you want him to do with that roster? So, of course, he flipped it. I think it was the same type of people that then all week this week, Gus, started saying things like, it was just one game. Let's stop overreacting. Well, what do we say now? They're 3-point favorites, and they're up 36-7 in a rivalry game.
Deion Sanders saying in his press conference, don't let me get comfortable. And I'm about to get comfortable. What does that mean, Joel?
Well, this is a new roster. You know, this is a guy.
Game.
He means get comfortable with his players. Let me figure out how to coach each one of these guys individually. Because each one of these individuals, these human beings, they have a certain way that they are motivated. Once he learns that, he feels like they can go to the next level.
All right. So in a minute, I'm going to tell y'all why.
Tripping.
In a minute, I'm going to tell y'all why that's not what he meant when he said he's about to get comfortable. And I'm going to tell you what he meant. I'm going to use clips of Coach Prime to explain what he meant, but that's not what he meant. He meant something else. So there are a few things in that video that were significant. One, they talked about how Vegas apparently expected Colorado to win 3 games. They talked about the huge point spreads that Colorado lost with last year. And they talk about that in order to mitigate that, Coach Prime hit the transfer portal really hard. Now, he got a lot of criticism for that. And I don't know if you know this, but the transfer portal used to not be a thing.
Oh no, I didn't know
It used to be a really complicated process for students to be able to transfer from one school to another. And when the transfer portal came into existence, people called it like the Wild West. Like, oh, it's just too easy for these kids to switch schools now.
Bro,
Like,
they
it should
don't
be
even
hard.
fucking get paid, bro.
And-
Let them go whatever they fucking want to go.
And that's the thing. It's not even like Coach Prime is doing something wrong. He's using a tool that was newly created, and he's using it in a way that other people aren't using it, and they're mad that he's seeing success with it. That's literally all he's doing.
Y'all
He's doing
can do
something
it
other
too.
people
Y'all
could.
just don't have the name.
Not only do they not have the name, but it's like people are too scared to do it because it's like there's such a stigma. Like, even though it's there to be used exactly how he's using it, but there's a stigma around it. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm gonna do this the old-fashioned way, and
Oh, shit,
da-da-da-da-da.
you had to sit out a year. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's like, that was one of the rules. Like, so it's like you had to like really think about it and really want it if you wanted to switch schools, you know? So the transfer portal is like a big deal. And so one thing I do want to say about that real quick, and the situation with Tez Watkins was actually something I had to cut out of our show notes for the sake of time, but that's something else that I might find time later this week to talk about, or if there's a development. This is why we want to do more than one show a week. There's just too much shit. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, well, they're student athletes. They should be students first and yada, yada, yada. And people act like there's this actual moral high ground to focusing on the student part of student athlete. Let there be no mistake. The whole reason the concept of student athletes was created was so the NCAA was not obligated to pay workers' comp to these athletes who got injured doing what they're doing for these schools on the job, so to speak. So it's like, if we say it's not a job, then we don't have to compensate them for getting injured on that job. Like, the phrase student athlete was not created because the NCAA actually thought it had anything to do with what's best for students or athletes. It was there to benefit them financially. And then they market it as this great thing, like, oh, we're giving these people scholarships and yada, 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 in order to get the community to think, to like take their side and to think that there's some moral background that's related to why the whole idea of a student athlete was created. It's not. It's all about money. It's all about the NCAA holding on to money. And there's actually an interview. This is not the clip, one of the clips I'm going to show y'all today, but there's actually an interview where Coach Prime laughs about that. And he's like, all these schools are chasing the bag. All these schools are chasing money. The coaches are chasing money. The coaches can switch schools whenever they want. But then we get mad when the athletes want to do it. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, they are waking up to the fact that sports in America is about money. They know it, and they're making decisions accordingly. And I feel like people are only mad because it's changing how they do things, especially Nick Saban. You can tell he's been bitter ever since NIL happened, ever since the transfer portal changed. He's been bitter because it's changing how he has to recruit. It's changing his competition when it comes to recruiting. And so all these people are mad that now they have to actually consider different things when it comes to these athletes, and athletes can actually like make decisions based on things like money and NIL deals, as opposed to just buying into whatever idealistic bullshit comes out of the mouths of a coach that happens to be at a school that they want to go to. So anyway, there's that. But so yeah, everything the announcers said, in my opinion, related to how some of the things that Coach Prime has been saying over the past few months, if you piece it together. So one of the things about Coach Prime is he's very open and honest about his faith. He's a Christian. And back when he used to actually like quote scriptures a lot, he would reference certain things about like the power of words. And like for a lot of Christians, especially ones who like believe in affirmations the way that he does, the scripture life and death are in the power of the tongue is like a really big deal. So everything that I heard them say in that last section kind of brought me back to this one interview that I couldn't find on YouTube, but luckily I found a TikTok user who shared a clip of it. Actually, I don't need to open that again. It's already open. So we're going to play that one super quick, and then we're going to keep going.
What is your mindset when people have opinions?
I don't care. Look at me. What about me would make you think that I care about your opinion of me? Your opinion of me is not the opinion that I have of myself. You ain't make me, so you can't break me. You didn't build me, so you can't kill me. You know what? God established me. So you ain't nothing you can do to me. I've been dealing with this foolishness since Pee Wee football, man. I've been him. I've been a difference maker, a game changer. I've been that guy. So what will change now that I'm coaching? Not a darn thing. I'm not even playing the game, and you got an opinion of me. I don't care, and I wish the world thought like that. Youngsters, do not give a darn what opinion people have of you, as long as that opinion is not consistent of that of yourself. You be you. I'm not planning to make you feel good about me. I already feel good about me. I'm good.
Yeah, I love him so much.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm not planning to make you feel good about me. I already feel good about me.
I don't need your validation, dog. Got
So-
my own.
So the reason why I thought about that is because I'm thinking about what these announcers said about, oh, well, a lot of people didn't like this and that about him whenever he first took over. So I don't know if you were paying attention whenever he first got the job at Colorado. He basically called a meeting with everyone who was on the team at the time, all the people who like those huge ass point spreads and the announcers were talking about, all the people who were responsible for that shit. He called a meeting with all of them. And in so many words, he was like, yeah, some of y'all need to get in the transfer portal. Because he was basically announcing that he was trying to build a new team of people with certain skills and a certain mindset and that they were trying to win. And he was like, some of y'all ain't built for this. So you need to get in the transfer portal now.
Bye.
Like, yeah, basically like some of y'all aren't gonna be here. And I don't remember how many starters from last year they said he kept. I think it was something like 3.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people thought that that was too much, that he was being kind of rude whenever he did that. So when I hear him say things like that about how, he doesn't care, I just think about the kind of attitude that he had to carry into that room and not only not care what those students were going to say.
A lot.
That is one way to look at it, because I'm just like, why? Like, if you know your goal is to set up a team in a certain way, why would you go into the room and like lie about it or sugarcoat things? It's like, no, I'm gonna be honest with you about where, like, I'm not. The day he got there, he was like, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna take things slow. I'm like, I'm going to tell you upfront what is about to happen. So yeah, that is a considerate thing to do whenever you think about it,
But honesty takes you a long way, man. You gotta be. I mean, when you're in that position, you can sugarcoat shit.
But
You
a lot of
can't.
people are scared of honesty,
That's
and
why I
they
mean
think
why
it's
I say
rude.
Americans are soft.
They are. That
Thank
I
you.
agree with you with.
Ooh,
Like,
the first time I said that, she was like, "Oh, you mean we soft?"
yeah.
But now look, see, after so many exposures and so many examples, like you're right.
I've had so many situations where like I tell so many people I meet, my one rule when I first meet you, like, don't lie to me. Like, it's one rule. One, and you'll be surprised how many people cannot
Honesty.
follow that one rule.
Bro.
She's heard the stories. She's heard the stories. I'm like,
I
one
can't
rule.
deal with
Don't
that
lie to
shit
me.
either. Be
Ooh.
loyal and be honest. That's it. You'll be on my good side all the time.
Eventually, I want loyalty. In the beginning, I don't even be asking for loyalty. I just be like,
No,
don't.
but I mean, I'm not. But the thing is, like, I'm not gonna be disloyal to somebody that I don't know. Obviously, that's gonna grow over time. But
Right.
I'm not gonna, like, I don't know. That's just weird to me. That's just really weird to me.
That's a whole nother episode. All right, so that was something that I felt like connected to the announcers' comments, and then there was also this one. Well, let me make sure I know which one it is. So I'm just gonna play the beginning of this next one. This is his post game from after the TCU game, and wait, no. Actually, this isn't it. No. Here it is. Yes, this is part of the post game from after the TCU game. And so there's a couple of things that I want you to pay attention to. One is just how he refers to people believing in what they're doing. And the other thing is just like pay attention to the similarities in his attitude from this post game press conference and the clip that we just saw, which was from over the summer.
Turn on the film. I tell him to turn on the film. We're gonna continuously be questioned because we do things that have never been done. That's the way our life has presented themselves. We do things that have never been done, and that makes people uncomfortable. When you see a confident black man sitting up here talking his talk, walking his walk, coaching 75% African Americans in the locker room, that's kind of threatening. Oh, they don't like that. But guess what? We're going to consistently do what we do because I'm here and ain't going nowhere. And I'm about to get comfortable in a minute. Because guess what? These young men in there right now, they believe. Not all of them believed before. But right now, they came up one by one, twos by twos. Coach, we believe. Now they believe. Now Boulder believes. People in the front office, people in the building, the fans, the students. Now everybody want to believe. I'm good with that. We got room. Because I was just thankful. You got to understand, I'm human. You know, I deflect a lot of things, but I'm human. So I feel some things, and I'm a natural giver. I give. And every once in a while, you know, I have one of those empty moments that I got to reflect on. And these coaches are so good. Rick, George, for giving me an opportunity and just what we accomplished out there today. Ain't none of y'all believe that. Maybe a couple of y'all that knew me and know how I get down. They know I'm a winner. We're going to end up winning. Ain't none of y'all thought you was going to be sitting up here. You supposed to be on the other side, you know, interviewing that or coming asking me, well, what happened? You said this and you said that. Yeah. Now what? Everybody quiet now. Now what? Come here, dog. Yeah. It's one of our guys that does this podcast. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, dog. I'm straight up. I appreciate you, dog. Keep on doing what you do. Thank you. That's one of our supporters when none of y'all was supporting us. He had our back. You believe, didn't you? I did. All right. What's up, boss? You believe now? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe that? Huh? Oh no. I read through that bull junk you wrote down. I read through that. I sifted through all that. Yeah. Oh no. Come on. Do you believe? You don't believe. You just answered it. You don't believe. Next question. You don't believe. You don't.
Question.
This dude is amazing.
Next question.
He said, "You don't believe." Next question.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played that clip for two reasons. So one, just the fact that he's got such a big emphasis on belief, like that's not fake, that's not entertainment. Like belief really is a big deal for him. And then he also talked about, like, he referenced back to the fact that he's got to do things that other people don't have to do, or that other people won't do, or that they aren't doing.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that's just significant because whenever he starts talking about human moments, I think that's the part that a lot of people don't think about. That, you know, they're just looking at this like you said, confident black man, and that's threatening and yada, yada, yada. And he really said that in a press conference out loud, which may not feel significant, but that's something that, like, that's one of those things that a lot of people just like would not say. They'd say it in more private moments, but they wouldn't sit there so boldly at a press conference and say something like that.
Of their homes.
Right, exactly. And so I'm gonna tie that into one more thing, which is
and then we're talking Cowboys.
Yeah, and then we're talking Cowboys. And so that's the post game from Nebraska. Let me mute this so we don't have any issues.
Everyone. Oh my God. We must be winning. Shoot, baby. I ain't seen this many. That's my dog. Come on, baby. All right. Royalty right there. Oh, how's everyone doing? Great win. Started off slow. Played like hot garbage in the first half. Probably 5 minutes left in the first half. We started picking it up quite a bit and doing what we're capable of doing. Hats off to the defense and how they were steadfast today. They atoned for the disappointment that we were last week defensively. We still gave up a few plays, but overall, I think we forced three turnovers, interception, I think 2 fumbles, so 3 turnovers, and we didn't give up explosion to the end. So I'm really proud of the defense. Special teams stepped it up. We didn't have nothing crazy that transpired, and Jace Philly is who he is. He's unbelievable. Kicking the ball in, he kicked off in the end zone, and we punted the ball really well too. I think we got a couple inside the 10 as well. Coaches did a great job. They called a great game. Some things that they're calling, we're just not doing what we're capable of doing, and they get the blame for it. But the kid is just in the wrong gap or not feeling like he's supposed to, or not blocking, or running the wrong route. So overall, it's a win. To just think that we played like we played and we won by that margin, that's a pretty good feeling for any coach. And I think for you all to see what we're capable of doing. I keep saying more and more young men as well as coaches are believing. I think we're up to probably 80% now of young men in that locker room as well as staff and support staff truly believing what we're capable of doing. It's not believing in me, it's believing in what we're capable of doing. That was the question I posed to the gentleman last week. It wasn't about me, it was about the young man and what we possess. Let's go.
All right. So basically the crux of all that is, there we go again. So basically the crux of all that is, like, one, who uses belief as like a measurable stat? I don't know how he measures it, but to me that just showed like how important it is to him that people do have, like, that they are on the same accord mentally and emotionally. But when it comes to that question of what does he mean whenever he says, I'm about to get real comfortable, I actually don't think that it has just to do with what the announcer said about coaching the kids. I think whenever we're talking about what he feels like his mission is, whenever it comes to what he felt like he was supposed to do in terms of helping Colorado win. Because if you listen to what he said when he left Jackson State and decided to go to Colorado, he talked about just the fact that he wanted better conditions for his staff and for the students who wanted to come play for him. Like, he's basically trying to make a difference in people's lives. He's trying to make an impact on people's actual lives. And so he felt like Colorado ended up being a better place for him to do that. That's actually something he said. He said he had a mission, and his mission wasn't tied to a specific location. And so I think sometimes whenever you feel like you have a mission and you feel like you have like a higher purpose, so to speak, I think a lot of people think about the feeling of victory that comes along with achieving that. And some of the things that he talked about in terms of having to deal with foolishness was something he said. He talked about experiencing human moments. I think those are some of the uncomfortable components of having a mission that a lot of people don't think about.
Or at least don't talk about as openly as he does.
Right. It's like you can be confident, you can be walking in your purpose, you can even be accomplishing a lot and still struggle with just like discomfort or having to have tough conversations with people. Just knowing that there are people who are smiling in your face, talking about you behind your back, understanding the politics of this situation. All of those things can play a role in you saying like, okay, these are things that I have to do to accomplish my mission, but they don't necessarily feel that great. I'm not necessarily comfortable. I'm not necessarily in a place where everything feels good. Sometimes I do have to think about whether or not this is the best way to go about something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what he meant when he said he's about to get comfortable, I think all he's saying is that like, hey, I've been in a place where I've been struggling with all this stuff, the politics of the environment, whether or not I'm going about it the right way. Am I accidentally burning bridges? Are there people plotting my downfall? And I'm finally getting to the point where none of that even matters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do what I have to do. And I'm not even thinking about it. It's like, it's not even a thought. It doesn't matter. There's literally nothing any of you can do to make me uncomfortable in this situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, even whenever he talked about like, oh, I'm a confident Black man coaching all these, you know, a 75% Black team. Yes, that's something that he can be proud of and that he can say with authority, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's comfortable in that place. It's just something that he understands is his role in the world and that he has to do. And now he's like, okay, but now I'm about to get comfortable. And that's when things go to a whole nother level. So
I'm excited to see what he's gonna do this season.
Yeah,
he's
and
gonna
so
shut so many people up. I'm so
it's stuff like that that makes me not want to make a prediction about the USC game, because on paper USC should win, but they've done what they've done so far.
Yeah,
and
the Bills
and
should have
they're
won last night too, but
they're apparently only at 80% belief. Like, so if they're up to 90% belief by the time they play USC, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like in terms of on the field, or if, like, I don't know, they go Super Saiyan once they hit 95% or something. But yeah, they're only at 80% belief, and they're doing all this. So
imagine when they hit the 100.
Man, if they do, I have no idea what to say.
For real, though.
That's just wild to me. Just to be like, yes, we're at 80% belief. What's the first question? All right. So on that note, let's talk about our Cowboys.
Should I bring the chips?
If you want to grab them, I can play the clip that Martin made for us.
Oh my God, yes, Martin, thank you.
So I can play that while you go grab the clips. So Schottenheimer, if you're watching us right now and you have not wandered over to Dallas Cowboys YouTube and seen the interview that Schottenheimer did, a lot of people have been talking about it. So we've got a few of his words over a few of the plays that happened from the other night. So we're going to take a quick break, let y'all listen to that, and watch some of these plays, and then we'll be ready to dive into all the craziness that happened during the game right after this. And I say right after this, but y'all know it takes me a few seconds to get all this stuff loaded up.
Hey, Brian. David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Dak was talking last night about not chasing big plays. Mike was talking about it in the discipline. Could you just go into that a little bit more, and how much of that, to not do that, is to have personnel packages with diverse skill sets that you sprinkle in throughout a game so you're not chasing something?
Yeah, I think, if you watch the opening sequence of the game, I was really proud of just the overall tempo that we were operating at. Our play style, our pace of operation, we want to go fast. You saw us rolling multiple people in there. Elements and weather conditions always will be a part of it. I thought what he did a great job of is just kind of knowing the situation of the game, knowing the situation of the weather, and then executing the plays to the best of his ability under that umbrella. We're always going to be attacking. We're always going to be aggressive. We're going to find our plays, but there's also a time where if a shot is there and it's deemed like, I might have a chance for this one, but the better decisions to check it down. I thought he did a really, really good job of that yesterday. And that's something that we know, again, we want to protect the football. Okay. It all starts with that. We want to protect football. I was proud of our guys. Only 2 ops, I think, yesterday. The screen play that Tony had where the guy came and knocked it out. Really cool thing there when you watch a film, really, we always emphasize cover and finish, right? And so if you watch Zach did a great job on the mug linebacker. He was there, but Tyler Biadasz is covering down and finishing. He's actually the one that falls on the ball. And then there was a decision early in the game on a corner throw that the corner kind of fell off and knocked off. But for the most part, we were really clean with our decision-making and ball security in that environment and in those weather conditions. It was tough. It was a tough night.
Seth, let's talk about Turpin. Just your thoughts on how you guys utilized him on Sunday.
So Turp was a guy, at the end of the season last year, he wanted to be a little bit more involved. There's obviously a ton of natural ability there. What I love about Turp is just his passion for the game. He just loves to play the game. He just literally loves football. And I'm really proud of him for how he's learned to study the game and study the things that we're trying to ask him to do. I mean, you look at where we were able to move him around different spots last night, ask him to do different things. And for him to do it at a high level is really cool. I think he was in 4 or 5 different spots in our formation sets that we can have. When you give him the ball, there's always a chance that good things are going to happen. I wish he would have held on to the little run solution we threw out there, because that would have been fun to see as well. But just proud of him for what he did. And then again, he's always got great feedback. just the color that he comes back with about what he saw, and man, there's a lot of guys over there, so I just turned it up. Is always good comedy on the sidelines. But I just love the way the guy plays the game, man. If you can't get fired up to watch him play football, man, you're at the wrong sporting event.
How do you help him?
Put them in different spots. There's a really cool play. You guys should go dig it up in the fourth quarter about the brotherhood and what we have, this family culture that we have, not only just as a team, but as an offense. So we're getting ready to run a formation and a play, and Terp was playing different spots late in the game, and JT had done it more. And so JT was actually on the ball and Terp was inside. And JT's like, hey, dude, I got this. Hey, you move here and I move there. But the cool thing was Terp could have done it, and he has done it before, but JT was willing to say, hey, I've done this more. Let me do that. And so, again, I think that speaks to the trust that these guys have in one another, and they're always going to look out for one another and make sure that our confidence is high. They were combination block at the front side, kind of trying to knock it down, and then Fergie was pulling. I mean, just some really, really beautiful combinations. One time I know a guy scraped over the top and Henny came off. One time Jay came off, kind of ricocheted through it. So I thought the run game stuff was terrific. It was a wet night. We expect them to make those catches. They will make those catches. But the coolest thing I will say was the one that Henny had down in the red zone was just a beautiful picture of where I think we are right now as a passing attack. That was a tight window, and Henny was getting really doubled. The Dory was there and the safety was coming, but Dak trusted him, and Dak threw it. And there's no question in my mind that come Sunday when we're playing the Jets, if it's that same window on a different concept, Dak's going to throw it again. Why? He trusts him.
Todd Archer with ESPN. That's a big part of Zeke was his success on goal line, short yardage. How do you think you guys handled that with Tony yesterday, getting those scores? Did you kind of do it a different way with Tony than he did with Zeke, or how do you look at the production?
Well, I thought, Todd, you were going to go to Terp, our magic weapon. I mean, a real goal line back, okay, is Terp. Yeah, that's the main guy. That's how we kind of see it. No, like we've talked about, Tony is just an unbelievable competitor. And again, why do I go there? I go there because that's a little bit of what short yardage and goal line running is. It's instincts, it's talent, but there's also a little bit of makeup and heart and desire. And again, the one I can remember the most clear was, we run the little unbalanced toss sweep play, and he kind of gets outside of it, and he feels they did a nice job. They kind of strung it out and forced the ball back, and he just put his foot in the ground. But again, we have no questions he can do that. I felt like the second touchdown, the one we got in goal line personnel, again, Zach did a really good job coming around the edge. That was the one that kind of walked in off the edge. And but like he's ready for those challenges. And it was cool to see him get off to a great start. I'm just happy for him, coming back off.
Oh, man. Nope, not that one. There we go. So, yeah, a lot of comments from there about, or a lot of comments from Schottenheimer about what our offense did and why they use some of the weapons the way they use them. And we can dive into all of that. But before we get into the nitty gritty of it, like what were you feeling like as you watched the game?
I feel sorry for Daniel Jones. I feel bad for the dude at the end. I was just like, man, bro, like I love winning. I do. But I feel a little bad for him.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you in the very beginning, like if y'all remember, it actually took them a little while to figure out how to contain Daniel Jones. And by a little while, I mean like it was a handful of plays, right? But it was enough to where it seemed like, okay, he's figured out how to like take off and get some yards, and then it was just like after a few times of that, it was like our defense was like, all right,
we can't have your QB running every fucking play, dog. Like,
well, it wasn't every play. It was like 3 out of 4.
Okay, I'm sorry. You cannot have your QB running 75% of the plays.
I don't think any of that was
you sure did, Martin. You sure did.
I don't think any of that was a plan or by design at all. I think he just got to the point where he literally didn't know what to do. Hold on, I'm like looking for my notes on this. And of course, they're not there, so we ain't got no notes.
Mhm.
We're just gonna talk about this game. But yeah, so I don't think any of that was like, okay, our plan is for you to just run all night. I think because it's like, if you notice, they just started sending more people at him. And I think he really just started to panic. It was just like he didn't even have time to, like make, well, I won't say he didn't have time to make multiple reads, but he was having trouble doing it. And
Yeah.
I think there was part of him that kind of got used to relying on his own feet, and then it just worked out less and less for him as the game went on. Like
You can't.
they
Because the
figured out.
defense was barely out there. Our offense was barely out there, to be honest.
That's true.
And you can't just run the ball the whole time.
Well, no, and they learned that the hard way. But it's kind of like, well, if you look at the situation, what were you gonna do? Because even if you just look at what was happening up front,
Get
right?
your all linemen together. What the fuck?
But see, they literally did get together. They were double teaming Micah Parsons, and it left people like Osa with nobody on him. And he's like, "Oh, y'all are gonna be on Micah." But I'm saying though,
just double team on Micah.
But if they don't,
defense,
then what do they
we
do?
have so many fucking weapons on our defense that you cannot just
But-
double on Micah.
but
Because
here's
then
the catch.
somebody else gonna fucking get you.
But here's the catch-22 though. You put one person on Micah, Micah handles them with ease. So that's why I was like, I kind of feel bad for the dude, because it's like, what are your options? You can either put one person on Micah and he gets past them easily and then come straight for you, or you can take care of Micah Parsons and just hope that the other. That's literally all he had. All you had was hope. Like, we are going to take care. Like, they committed. You could tell they decided, because it got to a point where there was no longer ever one single person on Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I know.
And you could tell, like, they were like, we're going to put 2 or 3 people on this one dude, and we are going to hope that these other motherfuckers are not fast enough to get to the QB before he gets this ball off. And that did not go very well for them.
Okay, clearly.
So they were in a catch
40 to 0. Clearly.
They were in a catch
Go
22.
well.
It was kind of like, what are we going to do? Now, I did not expect them to get blown out 40 to nothing. I do remember thinking to myself, like, so like, y'all know me, I don't make promises, I don't make predictions. But when I was thinking about this game, the way I felt about it, I was really thinking that they could go in and get 40 something on the Giants. Like, the specific score that I was thinking of was 42 to 17. But I don't like saying stuff like that out loud.
That was your prediction?
Yeah, but I'm kind of getting used to it. Y'all might hear some more predictions from me like throughout the season. Somebody was telling me, whenever it comes to like making predictions and having takes as like a sports content creator, they were like, yeah, you just gonna be wrong sometimes. You just gotta say that shit with authority and make it good. Like, you just gotta make the content good and just know you're gonna be wrong sometimes and just like keep it moving. And I'm just like, oh, okay, we'll see. We'll see if I can get used to that.
Just saying, like, you believe it. I mean, I believe that we're gonna win. I couldn't tell you about how much, but I can tell you, I mean, as my belief, that's my opinion. That's why it's a prediction, because it's not a fact. So it's kind of an opinion.
Right, but you don't want to be like really like far off and wrong.
I don't
Like,
care.
sometimes people rub that shit in your face, and it's annoying.
Who cares? Coach Brown just told us. Who fucking cares about your opinion? I don't care.
I'm gonna get on my Coach Prime shit. I don't give a darn what y'all think about me.
That's right. That's right.
I don't need you to feel good about me. I feel good about myself. But yeah, so that's number.
What's your prediction for this week?
No, I already called it. I called it in the space. I was like 40 burger again. And
you think 40?
I think so. I think we could do it. Now, there's a lot of people who have concerns about the Jets defense against our offense, but I think we haven't seen the top form of our offense, because it was raining, and I don't know where the tight ends were during the wet ball drills, but like they were having trouble. But I'm assuming, I think last time I checked, it's supposed to be dry in Dallas. I really think that we're gonna get more opportunities with the ball. Yeah, I really do think that I think there's a lot of things about the offense and the way that it's gonna run that we simply have not seen yet. That now, okay, I should say this. Here's one reason that we might not get 40. Mike McCarthy is not about running up the score. He's not about lighting up the stat sheet. He's about getting the win and being efficient. A lot of the stuff that Shadi was saying in the video that we just watched is a reiteration of some of the things that Mike McCarthy has said that a lot of people took the wrong way, which I don't even understand how you think that like a head coach like just wants to score less. People were like, well, Mike McCarthy said he wants to score less. And I'm like, what head coach do you know whose goal is just to lose? Like, please listen to the quotes in context, people. What he said is that he doesn't want to focus so much on scoring. Like, he's more about winning. And he said he would gladly sacrifice offensive production for the sake of winning more, you know? Which totally makes sense, because that's one of the frustrations a lot of people had with Kellen Moore, was that like they would light up the stat sheet and on paper it's like you got this like high scoring team that's like getting all these yards and doing all this stuff and bringing all these records, but then they fall flat in some of the biggest moments.
Yeah.
Which is something that, you know, if you watch that Chargers game this past weekend, some shit, especially at the end of at the end of the game, and the way they couldn't close might have looked a little bit familiar.
Yeah. Dan Quinn could have sit down on this one.
So yeah, I do think that if the offense does really well and they get a big lead, that Mike McCarthy might be like, okay, Dak, take a break, or okay, we're gonna take it easy. We're not gonna throw the ball so much. So something like that could happen, and we might not light up the score sheet or the stat sheet the way that we did in the past. Because if you think about it, in this case, like, you know, there was some defensive points on the board that contributed. Now, what I will say is really frustrating about how people have been talking about this game is just the issues that people have with the offense. Everything that I just mentioned is like why we should not be worried about whether Dak Prescott did or did not throw a touchdown pass. The offense scored touchdowns like we needed them to do.
Can we just stop?
It was raining,
But
and
it's a team game.
people
God,
don't
you
care.
need to fucking learn to hate on one fucking player. God, he did fucking great. Whether you like it or not, he did. We scored. We won 40-0. What do you want? What are you gonna fucking complain about? We won 40-0.
Have you ever seen those videos from Key and Peele when they showed like Obama and then they had like
the translator? Yes. Is
Luther,
that
who
me?
was angry Obama?
I
Yes.
am the translator. What's his name? Babe. I'm gonna text him.
His name is Luther.
Luther. That's me. That's Luther.
I'd be like, Dak Prescott did great. He did what we needed him to do. You're like, fucking people.
People. We were over like fucking 40 points. Leave the fucking man alone. Jeez.
They don't want to leave the fucking man alone. And I don't know why, because there are definitely worse quarterback performances to criticize from week one.
If Dak Prescott would have been Daniel Jones, bro, you just imagine.
I want to match your energy so bad right now.
We would be having a so much different conversation right now, bruh.
You're not wrong. And we can talk about that in a second. But
it just pisses me off sometimes. People go too hard on that.
So what I want people to think about as we approach the Jets game, because I've seen thoughts all over the place. I've been seeing people talk about like, okay, our defense is gonna destroy Zach Wilson. Which like I was totally expecting Zach Wilson to just like shit the bed. And in a lot of ways he did last night. But then just I don't know. At the end of the day,
but the ones that shit the bed was the Bills.
Yeah, it's like two teams shit the bed and one did it worse.
yeah.
But yeah, so there's talk about like, oh, our defense is going to destroy Zach Wilson, which is also true. And then there's a lot of talk about the fact that the Jets have one of the best defenses in the NFL, which is also true. What's happening? Hold on, let me check on this.
I don't know. Does this one might reach? Here.
It won't.
Yeah, this one does.
Huh? Oh, that one does?
Yeah, it's
right.
10 feet long. You better reach to the table.
The whole fucking camera.
Technical difficulties. Just hold. Please hold.
Give us a second.
And we're back. Unmute. Oh, we're
All
not
the
muted.
tech-
Yes, nice.
Yeah, all the technical difficulties. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So yeah, you've got the camp that's all about what our defense is gonna do against Zach Wilson. And then you've got the camp that's really focused on the fact that the Jets have a really good, like one of the top, most people put them in top 3 to 5 defenses in the NFL. And so my thing is both of those things are true. So if you look at
I ain't scared.
and I'm not either, because at the end of the day, I believe more in Dak's ability to overcome their defense than I believe in Zach Wilson's ability to overcome our defense. And I think our defense is also better than their defense. I think we might see some things that are a little bit concerning. Going from a rain game to a game where we're playing against one of the top defenses in the league, I think we're still not going to see the perfect version of our defense, or of our offense, I should say. I think we're still going to see the offense working on some things, making mistakes, and in some scenarios that make people uncomfortable. Because even on Sunday night, as well as things turned out, it was a while before I felt like
Zach Wilson. I know.
it was a while before I felt like the offense really got in their groove. You know, it seemed like while they weren't really making mistakes in terms of like turning the ball over and things like that, it did seem like they weren't having the easiest time making it down the field. Not as easy as what I thought it was going to be. The way players were talking about how confident they were feeling and being on the same page and what a difference that made and things of that nature, right? And so it did feel like it took a while to get in their groove. And I think that might happen again this Sunday, just because the defense that we're going to be facing is so good. And there are going to be some scenarios that we're going to be in that, like, you know, maybe plays that they didn't run or things that they try to call, or even maybe trying to go at a certain speed that they didn't go at this past Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
So I do think that people are going to need to be patient in terms of how they talk about the offense and what conclusions they try to draw about what the offense is capable of and whether it looks quote unquote good or bad. But I do think if given a little bit of time, they will find their groove. It'll be okay. And I think at the end of the day, like, our defense has shown that they can give a quarterback trouble for 4 quarters. So what I think is it might start off close. But I think our offense is going to pull away. I think Dak is going to be able to figure out how to handle the Jets defense and get points on the board. But I expect Zach Wilson and the Jets offense to struggle the whole game, and we'll come out with a W.
Yeah, because they're going to cry like they just did last week. All the hype. All the hype. Oh, I was so excited.
Yeah, it's
still
still
not
not
charging. Hold on, because maybe it's
It
not.
could just be that the phone is doing a lot in terms of
Oh, maybe.
yeah, of
'cause
trying
it
to
is.
use the camera and the Wi-Fi all at the same time.
I'm sorry for that view, y'all. I did not mean that. Did not. Anyways.
Oh my goodness. One day we're gonna look back on broadcasts like this and be like, "Do you remember when?"
Yeah, when you have to go behind the
Hopefully
car.
that'll be soon. I'm still trying to get my living room together. That's where we're ultimately going to be recording, is my living room. We're still in
We're
Españ's
gonna
living room,
change. Yes.
which is not set up for this, but like, I just moved and it's taken a while to unpack, y'all. We appreciate everybody who follows us, who subscribes, who watches our content, and who is bearing with us. Like, y'all are the real ones.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's easy to watch like well-produced stuff that's flashy. Like, we see it on ESPN all the time. Like, it's like if you watch networks like ESPN, FS1, their content is not that great. They have lively arguments. They have talent that can speak very well and that gets very emotional and enthusiastic about their takes. But other than that, it's all visuals. They've got like cool ass touchscreens and graphics and great lights and perfect cameras that don't start to run out of battery in the middle of their show. And they've got people who do the sound for them and people who run the cameras for them. And all their talent has to do is show up and look pretty and be really emotional with their takes, even if they're dumb as hell. And everything looks good. And it's so easy to get people to pay attention to you whenever the visuals are right, regardless of what you're saying. So the people who fuck with us, even though like we're struggling with our home equipment,
Y'all the real ones, man.
and the studio that we had changed up how they do things, and now we're just trying to figure shit out.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get back there one day. I don't know.
I still left my water bottle there like 3 months ago and still haven't gone pick it up.
Y'all keep us going though. So for real, one day hopefully there's gonna be like 100 times more people in this chat and watching these streams, and we are going to remember all of your names. So thank you.
Yeah.
I
really appreciate it.
But yeah, do you have any thoughts about what we should expect in the Jets game?
I just hope, and I hope I'm not going to jinx it by saying it out loud, but I just hope that the penalties are going to keep the same.
Or less.
I would be happy with the same. counting how last year was, I was like, Flynn and I were looking at each other like, we're not going to say anything. We're not going to jinx it right now. We're not going to say anything. But it was hella better than any other games last season. So
yeah,
I'm just hoping.
And honestly, that's the thing I was most proud of.
They played super clean.
Yeah, they played clean. They didn't turn the ball over. I felt like the offense did what it needed to do. I'm like, when you don't go into the game until 7 minutes and something left in the first quarter, and you're already up by 6 by the first time you take the field, like,
yeah.
like, no, you're not gonna go out there guns blazing for what? And it's raining for what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? It's like we're trying to get a win.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm not. Like all the stuff that people are complaining about, I really think that people. I'm tripping. Had to move over here.
Over where?
Yeah, tell us what you mean, Mills. But yeah,
that's right, Martin. That's right. He was like ready. He was like, I was gonna make a reference, but I'm gonna keep it to myself. Like just ready with the fucking flag on their hand the whole time. He was on Twitter. My bad. I should have been checking Twitter. That is my job.
Are there comments on Twitter?
I am about to check. I am so sorry. That is my bad.
Thanks for moving over here, Mills. We're happy to have you. And yeah, if you are watching on Twitter, we're more likely to see your comments and stuff if you're watching on YouTube. We're on StreamYard, and so it tells us that it gives us the comments, but like honestly, the only comments it ever gives us is from YouTube. Like even if you're watching on Facebook, it usually only gives us stuff from YouTube. What was I saying? Fuck.
I don't know. Sorry, because I went to Twitter, so I spaced out for a second.
Hashtag ADHD.
Hardcore.
But yeah, I think I was just talking about like the people who are criticizing the offense. I think they are people who, like Deion Sanders was talking about, they don't believe, and they are just like looking for reasons to back up their bias against Dak Prescott. They want to continue believing that Dak Prescott is not a good quarterback and that Mike McCarthy calling the plays won't make a difference. That's what they want to believe.
Bro, but let me tell you, like you as a reporter of a sports reporter, there's 31 other QBs. 31.
Well, that's the thing that we have to realize about a lot of these media outlets that cover sports. They aren't necessarily trying to give you the news and to like show you the facts and the reality of the situation. You can think of them as glorified content creators. The same way there's a lot of people in the Cowboys community who are like, I need views, I need impressions, I need likes, I need subscribers, I need eyes on me. They are doing the same shit at this point.
Yeah.
Only they're on cable TV. That's it. They represent brands that have existed for decades. But when it comes to, all right, we're going to do what we have to do and say what we have to say and say it how we have to say it to get more eyes on us, they're doing the same shit. And you would think that they could make enough money by telling the truth. And if they don't get their extra millions or whatever, it like they could just figure it out. But no, it's like everybody wants more and more. There's a lot of greed in the game, and as someone who's been, working with different things to see what affects impressions and what doesn't, I can tell you for a fact, talking about Dak Prescott gets you so much more attention than anything else that you could possibly talk about. It's almost disgusting. It really is. But yeah, so I think they see that, and I think that they play on it. And there's also a lack of creativity. Creativity costs money. It costs money to hire creative people. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy.
Bitch, I'm looking for a job.
It takes resources to be
I'm
creative. So
I'm
even
funny, I'm cool. I know most of the time what I'm talking about.
Apparently, Elena's trying to leave me so she can go be creative.
No. I'm talking about my daily job. No. I'm talking about making money because then we can invest in this shit. If we get one of those jobs, then we can do this shit better.
That would be something. But yeah, I think they just don't want to invest in being creative, if I'm being honest. Because they could, you know, and, it's like, and we see it with people who already work for them. I feel like Ryan Clark's podcast, The Pivot, is amazing. Like, he puts out amazing content. Shout out to the homie, Ryan Clark. He said we're homies. I got the tweet to prove it. He said it. So I'm not just saying it. Shout out to the homie, Ryan Clark. But yeah, so it's like they have the people in their building who have proven that it's possible, but that's just not the route they decide to go. And I get it. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. But
I know, but like, bro, like the ties and shit just get so old. Like, just have fun with it too, you know? Like, you have a good job.
I
Like,
think
you
if
have
we
a
see,
dream job for a lot of us, and you just go like,
it's not a dream for a lot of them though. There are a lot of people in that building. I promise you, it's just a job. But I think if we see a week 2, the way week 1 went, I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to deny what they're seeing. You know, because it's like,
listen, this influences is a lot too. It's so funny because every time after a game like Sunday, it's like, oh, I can't wait to hear the backtrack. I can't wait to see what your reason was for saying what you said and what you're gonna say that, you know, like, what is it? What's the word? Anyways, you know what I'm saying.
And they may or may not backtrack. So, like, one thing I noticed, Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I don't remember which one it was, but they were talking about the Cowboys game against the Giants, but they didn't talk about anything the offense did. They just strictly talked about the defense, and they were like, oh my goodness, the defense. And I was just like, that's all they're going to talk about. But I realized, I'm like, they can't talk about Dak's numbers without also bringing up, what the fuck is his name? Daniel Jones. Well, they can't talk about Dak's numbers without talking about Daniel Jones's numbers, you know? So they would, in that one particular instance, they would rather not talk about Dak at all than to have to admit, like, yo, we got some people on this panel who were basically saying that Danny Dimes, as they like to call him, even though he don't throw no dimes, it's kind of weird. But who were basically trying to say that he was better than Dak Prescott. And now, like, if they were to bring that topic up, they would have to address it, you know?
But they won't.
Josh Allen numbers. Good God. That shit last night was... So when that game started, I was in the gym. I just wrapped up with a client, and I was doing my own workout when that game started. So when Aaron Rodgers went down, one, I knew immediately it was a soft tissue injury because of how he went down. Like, he stepped awkwardly, that much you saw, and then he just kind of stopped and then sat. And so, like, had it been a break, like, usually when a player breaks something, when an athlete breaks something, I've seen enough breaks in real time to know this, they go to the ground. They can't stand up. Like, when something in your lower leg breaks, you not standing up and then calmly going to the ground. Your ass is falling if you ever got up. You know what I'm saying? How many have you seen?
Real life breaks?
Yeah.
Shit, more than I would like to.
Yeah, same. I'll never forget the first time I saw
Ankles.
like a spiral tib fib fracture.
Oh man.
Have you ever seen one of those?
I don't know, a double one, but I've seen.
Nah, I will never forget. We, like, practice hadn't even started. We were warming up. And one of my teammates, this was in Nashville, tib fib break. The tib went through the front of the leg. It was blood everywhere. And
I broke the skin and shit.
Yes, the bone was sticking out through the skin. And I froze. I was like, because that was literally the first roller derby injury that I ever saw.
Oh,
and I was
no,
like,
dog. Oh no, dog.
And the veterans in the building, they were so calm. Like she screamed and I turned around and I froze, and they turned around and they were like, because it was one of the new girls, and they were like, oh, what's her name? And they were like, oh, so-and-so, so-and-so. And they were like, and so then they just started asking the questions like, do you have insurance? Like, somebody get the ambulance. And they were just like handling it. And I was just like,
bro,
I was like, y'all.
I you know, some of them, like, I saw a fresh beat too, and literally I didn't really see it, but like her foot went like completely like backwards.
I've seen one of those too.
And then she was like, because we were doing like literally like weaving drill on cones, like by themselves, like no hitting, no, like it wasn't nothing. And then she just went on the floor and started like going bananas, and we're like, oh man, she's just exaggerating, you know, we're on the other side. And then she came up with the fucking x-rays, and we were like,
anyway, like I said, ADHD. But yeah, so when I saw the way he went down, I was just like, okay, it's a soft tissue issue. I wasn't sure what it was. But then they were like, okay, we're gonna do x-rays. I was like, clearly nothing broken, but like do your thing. They came back, said the x-rays were negative, and then whenever they started showing it in slow motion, and you just watch it in slow motion, and you see the way that he just kind of stands there for a second, and then he's like, let me sit down, and he just kind of picks up his knees and puts his hands there, and he's like, I'm gonna just wait till they come get me. I was just like, yeah,
you can see his whole calf going like whip up. Bah!
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it like go
You
from
can
extended
see
to boom. Yeah. Rough to watch. But
do you think he's gonna retire? I just wanted to beat him. I wanted to beat him so bad. I wanted to beat him so bad.
This man just had a traumatic injury. You worried about beating him?
I wanted to beat him before he got injured.
I think he should. I don't know if he will, but I think he should. And I mainly say that not because it's impossible for him to recover. Like, yes, he's 38, 39 or something like that. It's not impossible for him to recover.
He's gonna be 40 in December.
But he would have to take care of his body in a way that he just doesn't. Like, you just hear how he talks about how he takes care of himself. This man is practically a druggie. Like, if he were poor instead of rich, like if he worked at Walmart instead of for the NFL, the way that he does drugs, he would just be a junkie. Like, he don't take care of himself. So I'm just like, I don't know.
Bro, you ain't pretty boy.
I
don't know how many years it's gonna take you to understand that you are not Tom Brady.
Yeah, he doesn't take care of his body like Tom Brady, and so if there's a reason that he should retire, that's it. Is that he doesn't take care of his body in the way that he would need to in order to handle this injury and recover and come back in a way to where he could at his age. Because like, while I don't believe that age itself limits you, like if you ever hear me talk about the way people refer to age, I hate how people act like just certain things just happen at the age of 35 and 40 and you just fall the fuck off. No. Now, does it get to the point where your routine needs to be different at age 38 than it was when you were like 23? Yes. Or even comparing 38 to 28 or 38 to even like 33. Like, yes, your routine needs to be a little bit different. You need to have different standards in terms of what you put in your body and your maintenance and how you take care of your body, especially after physical activity, right? Yeah. So it's not impossible, but it's difficult on a level that I just don't think he's prepared to deal with. So I think it would be in his best interest to just hang it up if he still wants to keep doing shrooms and ashwagandha and all the other bullshit that he's been putting in his body.
I mean, you know.
So anyway. But yeah, I say all that to say, when that happened, the game still got boring for a little while. I turned it off. I came back to it and it was tied. And I was just like, wow.
It was funny because then at the end we're playing, what is the song? Anyways, keep talking because it's going to come through. But
yeah, you scroll through Twitter and I kind of start realizing some of the things that happened.
Don't Stop Believing. They were playing that song at the end of the game. Don't Stop Believing.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, the Jets won. Shit, I guess
a lot of Jets went into the season believing it was their year, or at least that it was going to be a really good year. So, like, Deion Sanders, they need to believe.
They need to believe.
Now, that would have been hilarious if Zach Wilson went into the press conference like, do you believe now? Hell no. The fuck? You didn't win that game. They lost that game. You did not win that game. Do you believe now?
You better start fucking believing. Shit.
Well, I appreciate y'all for believing in us.
Preach to that, yeah.
When we do finally get our studio and shit together, I'm gonna be like, you believe now. Anything else you want to say about this past week or next week? Or do y'all have any questions about anything that we haven't covered about this past Sunday or this coming Sunday? What am I thinking? This past Sunday or this coming Sunday? Do y'all have any questions? We'll wait for a second. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't cover in depth. So if y'all ever see me go live in the morning, all it means is that there's something that I want to talk about that I wouldn't normally cover for like discussed during this. So it's either going to be like an article that I wrote. Well, those probably won't be lives. Those will be like separate videos that I put out, which shout out to the people who watched the last one. I really appreciate the likes on that and the views. So it'll be
how many sacks on Sunday?
How many sacks on Sunday? That's a good question. Because of the way that we're looking, I feel like we could get even more. Yeah, Martin, I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say 10.
I was thinking 10 or 11, but
Uh-huh.
it's hard to say that out loud because that sounds like such a high number. But it's just like, even when looking back at the film, it's just like there's no answer. There's no answer for what to do about our pass rush. It is like a lethal pass rush, and it's just like if you try to take care of everybody, it's too easy for Micah or even some of the other players. Like some of the other players are getting to the point where they can get past one dude, you know? And then it's like if you dedicate yourself to handling Micah, Micah is of the mindset now is like, yes, please double team me, please triple team me. Because one, we saw him at camp get around some of those situations.
Yeah.
And two, he's more than happy to have some of his teammates get sacks. He said in an interview with the Pivot, shout out to Ryan Clark again, he said, I'm tired of watching Super Bowls and sweeps. That's his focus right now. So double team him, triple team him, he's not tripping. As a matter of fact, there were a couple of plays on Sunday night that I was like, I feel like he could get past those dudes, but he's letting them occupy him because he knows Osa is coming. So I just feel like there's no easy answer. So I really
we have another question.
It would not surprise me if we saw 10 or 11.
We'll have another question.
What's the other question?
Do you think we see back-to-back 40-point games?
I do.
Too.
I do.
As I'm typing it on the chat, but yeah, I do too.
I really do. I don't have a complete score prediction, but I do think we could see 40 plus, especially in dry weather, especially with our offense now having the chance to discuss some of the things that went well and didn't this past Sunday, now that they've had like an actual dress rehearsal, and it was a low pressure dress rehearsal. I really do think so.
I know. I saw a question before the last Sunday game, and it was like, who's gonna score the first touchdown? And everyone was like, oh, Tony, or whatever. But nobody ever said the defense. So.
Noah Igbenogany is his name. For anybody who's still confused about how to pronounce that, Noah Igbenogany. I was like, y'all gonna learn his name now. Said y'all better figure out how to say it. That was spectacular.
That was insanity. That was, anyways, was great. There's some shoo comment with TP. That's right.
Shoo content with TP and with Deuce. Do we have another sound for Deuce?
Oh,
because I know TP is shoo. Is Deuce like
it's tiny to the shoo. Deuce is like right here, and TP is like right here.
So yeah. What else? He's playing chess. I don't even know who you're talking about, but yes, you're probably talking about what I said about Micah. But yeah, Micah is smart.
Micah is one of the smartest players on the field at all times.
Really is. He doesn't get credit for that.
I agree.
Dak doesn't get credit for his smarts either. But that's a different conversation.
I can speed it up. Yes, that would be fucking funny.
You might need to speed up because as fast as he be moving, I don't know if I can shoot that fast.
Bro, listen, this season's gonna be fun, y'all. I'm excited about this season. I'm really excited.
Well, I think that's everything. If that's all are there any questions on Twitter?
Are there any questions?
If that's all the questions that y'all have, I appreciate y'all for joining us. Thank you for believing. I really appreciate all the belief for all the people who don't believe. I don't give a darn what you think about me. I feel good about myself. I don't need you to feel good about me.
That's right.
I love Coach.
Because
I'm not just watch. Bitch is gonna bitch. That actually is a theme of a lot of tweets that I've been putting out lately. There's been so many people who be like, you can't let these 4-letter networks get to you. And I'm like, I'm just sticking with the theme. Like somebody got to yell at these motherfuckers. But yeah, I'm gonna start watching Coach Prime videos every morning.
I was posted it on the chat too. Like I'm gonna have to start watching his fucking interviews before game day, or like right before game time.
Actually, I'm gonna close out with the one video that I didn't play for y'all, and then we're gonna get out of here. And yeah, it's personal. And I'm not saying that to say I have anything. One of our licenses, when our life, like, yes, this shit is personal. Y'all been going too long. But yeah, I'm not saying this to say that I have anything against anybody. Like, I'm not saying it's personal. In terms of like, okay, I have a personal vendetta against like some other content creator, or whatever. But I will say it's personal in the sense that this brand and this podcast means something to me. And that's why we have kept it up. And we're in our 3rd season and we're only getting better and going to more events. And I'm writing more and trying to do more because there are personal reasons for me wanting to see this happen. So in the theme of that, I will leave y'all with this. One more video if y'all want to watch it play out. If not, I'm bitch 2.
I'm bitch 1.
And we
Fellas, with every journey, there are going to be some real obstacles that's strategically placed in your path that you must get over, get by, get through, get away from, and you got to deal with it. See, the thing about those obstacles is that it's personal. See, normally it's the things that you care about, the things that means a lot, the things that you must deal with right now that you can't put off and you can't procrastinate about. You can't even avoid it because it's personal. It knows you and you know it. Now, see, I pride myself on being a great father. They say most African-American men are not great fathers, but the devil is a lie. See, one thing about a father, a real father, I don't care what ethnicity, if you say something about his kids, it's personal. If you say something about his woman, it's personal. If you just come on his property or do something that you have no business doing, it gets personal. And the reason it's so personal to me is they say something about my kids. You think I'm gonna let them talk about y'all and they ain't gonna be personal? You think I'm gonna let them doubt y'all and they ain't gonna be personal? You think I'm gonna let them naysay y'all and they ain't gonna get personal? You think I'm gonna let them say all the stuff that they said and that we don't have and we prove that we have it, and even when we prove that we had it, they said one thing. Therefore, guess what? Say that. It's personal. I respect the head coach a lot. He said some things. He tried to back off of it. But it's too late because it's because this person. I feel like every one of y'all are my babies. And I love you to life. And I know how y'all feel about me and the coaching staff and the support staff. Therefore, today, it ain't no regular game. See, y'all just want to win. When it's personal, I want to dominate. Knowing that I want to dominate, give me my theme music. Okay.